All right, so YouTube should be up and running. Now we got to try to get Twitch going. Okay, so it's just started. I don't know if it's running. Let's see if it's running. Yeah, it might be a little bit tricky on resources. We'll see if we can do this. Can you hear me, by the way? Son? Okay. Are you checking the Twitch channel? Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so the question is, oh man, it's been so long since I've streamed on Twitch. I'm like, where do I go to see my stream? I think the best place to hang out is the creator dashboard, right? Probably. We're doing it live. Okay, this is chaos. This is total chaos. All right. Change my title. Change my title where? Oh, in Twitch stream. Okay. Okay, so I gotta do this. Let's copy that. All right, now. I think my computer's just kind of chugging right now with the double stream, but let's see. Let's see if I do this. Never know. Yeah, it's just taking really long time to give me anything from Twitch. YouTube seems to be okay. Hey folks. Hey Alex, Pavel, Flakes, hello. Hey Brandon. We're gonna do some stuff. Okay, so that should change the title on Twitch. I'm trying to dual stream. I'm trying to YouTube stream and Twitch stream. I don't know if my computer's going to handle it. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty here. Let me know if there's any interruption in the stream that you're watching. Like, just give me a shout out and let me know. It's not going to be a super long stream today, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help people rebuild champions specifically for Siege. So if you need help figuring out how to put together a team composition or like rebuild a champion to work for PvP, basically, because this is all PvP, and we're going to be giving away some like mini takeovers. We're going to see if that works. Okay, so right now on Twitch, I just see the will return. Yeah. What's up?
You're cutting in and out a little bit for me.
In Discord or in the stream?
I was gonna say, mod me in Discord. You're cutting in and out a little bit.
Okay. And you want me to mod you in Twitch? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that way I can.
You
should be able to select me. If not, you can just do /mod.
Yeah, right now I can't see chat yet in Twitch. Give me just a sec. like my Twitch doesn't really show the stream. Like it just shows the blank screen. Hang on a second. How do I get to my own stream? That is so weird. I think it used to be in Stream Manager. I could see
YouTube
like
stream is going in and out a little bit. It's buffering here and there.
Okay. All right.
I don't think your connection is good enough.
Yeah.
For this.
All right. So we're going to stop Twitch. We're just going to drop Twitch and see if that clears things up. I've been having a little bit of issues with my internet. It hasn't been super bad, but let's see. Okay, let me know if that's gotten any better. Might have to stop the stream and restart. We'll have to see. All right, is that any better? Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Brandon. Sauce in the house? Nunya. All right, so I don't know if you were talking that whole time, son. I didn't hear you for like 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's probably a little better. I haven't seen any buffering since you cut off Twitch.
Okay. Yeah, we're not doing
Your
Twitch
FPS
right now.
is still a little off.
Now, this will be interesting. If I stop streaming in OBS, but leave the Twitch stream on. All right, I think we're back. Okay, I think we're back. It does look like there might be a tiny bit of lag, but hopefully it's not too bad, and it might clear up. And if it gets worse, let me know. In the meantime, let me see if I got to change channels because I can't hear Sun anymore. There's something going on. There's some kind of weird interactions going on right now. All right, Sun. Hey, Sun, give me a shout. Let me see if I can hear you. Okay, I can hear you.
Is it working?
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, and I hope everybody can hear you in the stream. I hope.
Yeah, they can.
Okay. All right, I got the text to speech on. I don't know if that's
it's looking better now.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So what we're gonna do today is surprise stream Sunday. Happy Sunday. I was gonna try to start streaming at like 1 or 2, and it's almost 4. So it's probably gonna be not a super long stream, but we're doing siege mode. We're talking about siege mode. By the way, if you are a member of a clan that is doing siege, any clan at all, especially if you're in the Cold Red Place clan cluster, please contact your leadership. Do it in game, do it in your Discord, contact your leadership. They're probably looking for you, trying to communicate with you. I know that my officers are definitely posting announcements in Discord. So if you are avoiding the Discord, if you don't normally hang out there, check announcements. This is an important thing. Please go check your announcements, go check your channels. Get in touch with your leadership. This is a huge headache for leadership. It's a massive headache for leadership, which is not surprising. Like we kind of knew it as soon as it was announced that this was going to be a big deal for leadership. It'll get easier. It'll definitely get easier, but you're going to need, if you're going to participate in this mode, in this game mode, you're going to need to be more communicative than you have had to be prior to this point in Raid. Like there's been nothing in Raid that has really required you to talk to your clanmates at all. Even Hydra Clash is like very minimal, but this requires communication. So please check in with your leadership, regardless of whose clan you're in. And again, if you're in our cluster, our officers are looking to talk to you. So if you haven't talked to anybody in like 3 days, that's way too long. That's way too long because Siege starts on Tuesday, and plans are shifting. So please check in. And if you talk to
clan, don't bother me.
yeah, Sun doesn't care. But if you talk to any clanmates and like tell them the same thing, be like, hey, listen, have you checked into leadership in the last 2 days or so? Because there's a plan in place. I know that in some clans, for instance, people might have just jumped in and placed defenses, and the officers are like trying to put together a strategic plan, and you might be in the wrong spot, and they're going to be mad that you're in the wrong spot. And so, if you don't check in, that could get drastic. So I just want this to be as peaceful a transition into this game mode as possible. I'll stop I will stop harping on it right now. Okay, so in today's live stream, what we're going to do is we're going to do some takeovers. Small takeovers, really small, quick takeovers. I'm going to try to get like 4, 5, 6 of them in. So what I'm going to do is I am going to suggest a champion type. I'm going to offer to rebuild that champion type for somebody. So for instance, if you have a cleanser, or you need an arena nuker, or you need an arbiter rebuild, or a go first champion rebuild, or you need a bomb champion rebuild, or something like that. So I'll call that out. What I'm going to ask for this takeover is that you have a minimum of 10 million silver available. Okay. Now, I think, is the artifact enhancement done yet, or is it still going? It's still going on. So we still have time. So, if you are not yet done with this artifact enhancement, we do a rebuild. I am, you can see, done. But hopefully, this will help you. But we're looking for 10 million silver. And then the champion type specifically, this is not a normal takeover. It won't lock you out of the regular takeover Tuesdays. I'm not going to put a 90-day timer on you or whatever. If you just had a takeover last week, that's fine. We can still do a takeover. We're going to do the same system. So we're still going to use the Wheel of Takeover. If you've ever seen my Takeover Tuesdays, if you haven't, you want to join my Discord community, you're going to scroll down on the left-hand side until you see an area called the Coaching Corner. In the Coaching Corner, there is a channel called the Wheel of Takeover. And what you're going to need to do is react to that wheel. There's a message there from Sun. You're going to react to that message. That's going to add you to the wheel. I'll spin the wheel, and you'll get your takeover. Please have your login information available and ready to go. You can DM me that as soon as you win. And basically, all it's going to be really is like, we're doing a takeover on a particular thing. I might ask you a question or two through DMs. So check your DMs just to make sure that, we're on target. And then that's it. And we're going to do 1 champion rebuild per person, probably, maybe 2. If there's like a team composition that needs to be adjusted, then we're going to go to the next. That's the plan. Who knows? I've never done this before. Hopefully it works. Let me get my screen set up here so I can actually read chat, see what people are saying, say hello to everybody, and we'll get underway. So I hope that sounds like a good plan. I hope people are interested in it. If you're not, I'll just rebuild my own champions and you can watch. that would be the default. That would be the default. Alex wants to see a rebuild. Hey, Caveman, good to see you. Will you be doing channel points, etc., where you can redeem a takeover? No, I just give away free takeovers. I don't want to have to track any additional information. That's too much for me. Baby time is it sucks up the mental resource. Also in gamer, I have a quick question. Someone in my clan has put a solo in base and refuses to go in Discord. When we ask them in clan chat, they refuse to change. What do I do? Well, if you're leadership, you have a call to make there, right? We have something in our clan cluster. We kind of call it informally a kick ping, right? Which is like if people don't check in Discord and they don't respond in game and you just can't get them to communicate and they're doing something wrong. They're taking, the clan quests when they're not supposed to. They're taking all the elite quests when they're not supposed to. Or, you know, they're not putting in their Hydra keys, or, you know, during CVC they're not hitting the required points or something, and they're just not communicative, we kick them with the idea that we're going to give them 48 hours to get back to us, and we'll bring them back into the clan. And basically, it's just a way to get their attention and be like, hey, you need to check in with us. It's sort of the second to last option, right? The last option is just kicking them and just replacing them. But this is like the before the final straw. We say, okay, we're going to give them a kick. We're going to see if they get back to us. If they get back to us within 48 hours and they're willing to then communicate and do the things that we need them to do, then they can get back into the clan. If they're not, if they don't get back to us within 48 hours, or they're just not willing to listen, then we ask them to move on. And in our cluster, we have several clans. You know, some of them are not going to be as actively participating in Siege and stuff. So there hopefully is another clan that suits that person a little bit better, that fits their play style and their personality a little bit better. But if not, sometimes you have to move somebody on. So, hey, MTG Jedi in the channel. Sorry, buddy, I didn't see you there. You need a takeover for gear cleanse. No, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. I'm not doing a gear cleanse for you. Listen, here, I'll offer you this option. We could do a collab. I will gear cleanse your account, and you can gear cleanse mine. How about that? How about that? Oh man, that's rough. But yeah, so we're gonna be doing this little takeover. But that's what I would suggest there. You can always ping somebody if you absolutely have to. You don't do Discord. Well, you need to do Discord. Discord's easy. Discord's free. It's simple. It's versatile. A lot of people use it. There's a lot of great stuff on Discord. I would highly recommend getting over the hesitation and opting into Discord. Okay, so here are the quick rules. Again, we've got a lot of people in channel, and I want to get going. So we do have almost 50 people already. We've only been going for a few minutes. So we're doing it just like a Takeover Tuesday, right? You have to be a member of the Discord. We're going to use the Wheel of Takeover. So again, just scroll down. You're going to see a channel called the Wheel of Takeover. There is a message from Sun. Sun, have you reset the message yet?
Aye.
Okay, so all you have to do is go react to that message, and that'll put you in the drawing. This is not going to burn your Takeover Tuesday credit. Like, you only get one takeover per 90 days over there, but this is a completely separate thing. So anybody can win, even if you've won a takeover before, or if you've never won a takeover, or whatever. And you could still win a takeover like in 2 days on Takeover Tuesday. So don't worry about that. But here's the thing. You need 10 million silver. If you don't have 10 million silver, please don't react to the wheel, because I'm going to log into your account. I'm going to see you have 1.5 million silver, and I'm just going to be mad, and I'm going to have to log off of your account and like go to somebody else's. So please don't do that to me. I don't want to be in that situation. And then the other thing is, like, if you don't have 10 million silver, if you got like 7.8 million silver right now, like, I get it. Go ahead and start gear cleansing, like start making some silver somewhere. But 10 million silver, that's the number. If you have 9.7, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I want 10 million silver. Who knows if it'll take that much, but that's the number. Okay. And remember, I'm going to call
hard
out
rules, putting your foot down.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I got to. I have to. And the other thing is, I'm going to call out the champion type. Okay, so if you don't want to take, a rebuild of that champion type, make sure that you don't react to the wheel. So are there a whole bunch of reactions on the wheel right now?
There's like getting up to 20.
Yeah, people don't even know what champion I'm calling out. So, okay, so maybe some people are like, it doesn't matter what champion it is. I want to rebuild. All right, so we are going to start with UDK rebuilds. If you want an ultimate Death Knight rebuild, that's what we're going to start with. We have a couple of options. We could do a slow ultimate Death Knight. Now, if you don't know what the value in that is, I will show you, and then we'll get into the build. So the way this works is Ultimate Death Knight has his passive, right? Where when he's attacked, he completely negates one single target hit on a champion, and he absorbs all of that. If you put him in Stone Skin, right? If you put him in a Stone Skin set, I'm going to go ahead and show you how Stone Skin works. Whoops. So if you put him in Stone Skin, he's going to get a Stone Skin buff. And we want a 2-turn Stone Skin buff. All right, so if you look at the bonuses here, when you get 6 pieces, This gives a stone skin buff at the start of the round for 2 turns. This has a 50% chance of blocking removals or steals. This gives you a shield that prevents you from being debuffed. You take a lot less damage. It's hard to remove. So what happens is basically UDK acts as a shield and he just absorbs stuff for your team. He just keeps your team alive. And as long as that stone skin is up, it's really hard to kill UDK. And here's the thing. The reason you run him super slow is so that stone skin lasts as long as possible, because he has to take 2 turns before it drops. So if you run him at as close to base speed as possible, right, then you can extend the duration of that stone skin. And that's going to allow your team a lot of time to do what they need to do. So his base speed is 97. We want to run him at like under 125, I would say. Anything under about 130, 125 is a nice slow speed. So that's what we're going to try to do today. So if you don't have stone skin on your account, you don't want a UDK rebuild, okay? We're doing a slow UDK rebuild. That's what's happening right now. So let's go ahead and reset the wheel. Well, I mean, yeah, let's just reset all the reactions, and we'll give people an opportunity to just react if they want this particular rebuild. You can see I don't have a slow Ultimate Death Knight, but I'm thinking about rebuilding it for that. Counter for that is sheep him. Yes, of course. There's always a counter for everything. So this is just it's a good, useful rebuild. It's good for arena. It's not good for anywhere else. Like if you use them in a lot of other places, you're not going to like this rebuild. But it's going to be good in Siege, Classic Arena, Live Arena, 3v3 Arena. It's great for those places. If you don't need this rebuild, just wait. Don't worry. We're going to do more rebuilds after this UDK. All right, so I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes to react if they want the UDK rebuild. Yeah, and by the way, why don't I have the slow build on him? It's because I actually use him in a few other places, and I have thought about rebuilding him specifically for Live Arena into a slow stone skin, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
So Cole, just for the future, I don't know if going that specific on the rebuild is going to be ideal, because I think there's only one person that is even in the mix.
Great, perfect. That's awesome. I don't care. That's great. Let's rebuild that one slow UDK. All of them won't be as specific as this. Like, the next one might be like, we're going to rebuild a cleanser for somebody. It's like, okay, let's rebuild a cleanser for it.
Okay.
So, but
we got a couple people coming in now.
I wanted to start specifically with this one because I think it's a good build, and maybe when people watch this as a VOD, or even if they're not interested in the takeover, like this might make them think about this rebuild. It's a really good use of a UDK if you have a pretty robust roster. It certainly works in faction crypts, by the way. It works great in faction crypts.
All right, let's spin it. Let's do it.
All right, fire it up. All right, did you spin it? Because I'm not seeing. Oh yeah, there we go. We got a winner at BTN. Is that correct? Man, my computer's still kind of lagging. All right, so I need the login information for your account. By the way, I'll mention this. I'll mention this again because I need at least 10 million silver. Like we might be able to do it with less, but I want to see at least 10 million silver, so I'm not super worried about it. And again, so if you have like 9 million silver on your account right now, just get in the forge and start making some money. All right. That email is not correct. Do you have a typo on that email? because it's saying there is no account with that email address. Is it a different email? So why is the Gaelic on my logo? I don't know, because I thought it was cool at the time, and I wanted to put some character in, and he's kind of the unofficial, mascot of Raid, I guess. Hello, red coleslaw. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna stick, man. I like red coleslaw. Let me see something. Okay. I wonder if it's a technical glitch on my end. Let me just try one more thing here. I'm gonna try exiting like all this stuff. See if I can get any more resources back. Okay, enough with the pop-ups, Raid. If you don't log into Raid for like 3 days, they just slam you with pop-ups when you come back. They're like, buy this and buy this and buy this and buy this. No, go away. I don't care. All right, now let's see if this works. No account matching this email address was found. Oh, there you go. Might be that. Okay. That's it. You got it. All right. So you good for a UDK rebuild here? Oh God, okay. I don't know what that means, man. Are you not sure about the UDK rebuild? We got the silver. That's good. Let's see the UDK. You're currently in Stone Skin, running him slow. You're running him at 1. You're running him at 145. Okay, so yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. Couple of things about this though that we can do a rebuild here, and this will help because it doesn't really matter what state it is in. Like we want to get as much out of the build as possible. So here's the thing. UDK does need accuracy. He has a decreased attack on the A1 that has a chance of placing a fear, right? 100% chance of placing a fear. You also want that to land. You want his provoke to land as well. So right now you are running 46 accuracy and a bunch of resistance, which is like not enough resistance to really matter. Not that you couldn't get more resistance and really build a high resistance build, but with Stone Skin, you don't really need the resistance, right? So the idea here is the speed is okay. Like we could probably get slower. We'll try to get slower. The HP is good. The defense is good. About 4K defense is a nice spot to have him. But what we want to do is we want to get him even slower, and we want to swap all of that resistance for accuracy so that when he does go, he can be disruptive as well with his skills. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look at what you've got. We're going to specifically we're going to look at all the Stone Skin. Let's go ahead and put the filter on. We're also going to take a look at, let me start with your accessories, actually. Let's see if you have any Stone Skin. You don't. Okay. Or maybe, no, okay. So let's go here. All right. So we're going to go to speed. We want low first. Okay. Now I do want substats of accuracy. Now, as far as like the bottom three pieces are concerned, the gloves and the chest and the boots, we want percentages. We want defense percentage like this. We want, HP percentage. And we want to get rid of that. We want to shed speed and pick up accuracy. So it looks like this might be an improvement here, right? We're going to get a bit more defense. Obviously, this can still be upgraded. We're going to get a nice little bit of accuracy here. We are going to lose a bunch of HP because I think you have HP boots on there. And that's okay. That's okay. Like, we want decent HP, but HP isn't critical. Remember that Stone Skin is doing most of the work here. So, be aware of that. All right, so let's go ahead and make that swap. Resistance is way better for UDK than accuracy for arena, right? I don't think so. Like, so here's the thing. When you, at least I believe this is the way that Stone Skin works. You can resist a removal, and you can have the 50% chance of resisting the removal, right? So if you want to resist the removal for, like, so you increase the chance that Stone Skin stays on, then the resistance that you're going to need is going to be like 400, 500, plus. You need a ton of resistance, right? Because the buff removal champions that you come up against are going to have a minimum of 400 accuracy, right? So, like, all of my buff removal champions have 400, except maybe Wukong. Like, my Wukong probably has, like, I don't know, he might have 350 accuracy or something like that. But all of my other buff strip champions have 400, 500 accuracy. My Sethalia has 600 accuracy, so you can go high resistance. You can go high resistance, but then you need to go really, really high. Now, as far as the accuracy is concerned, my feeling is that his decreased attack and his fear especially is so disruptive. So imagine this. Imagine you go 2 turns, right? On your second turn, on, like, if the fight gets to UDK's second turn, what do you do on that second turn? Like, he has to go and do something, right? That's where you use the fear. And the fear can potentially kind of get you a third free turn, right? Plus you have UDK, so you still have UDK being the tank. Like, you still have him even once the Stone Skin is down. So yeah, you could build him really high resist, but my feeling is with Stone Skin, like, modicum of resist can be useful, but I would rather have the accuracy. I want to land those debuffs. And the accuracy for him, I would say, like, you're not going to be fearing or decreasing the attack on, like, the cleanser or the reviver. You're going to be doing it on the nuke. Like that's really what you're trying to do. So you only need an accuracy of maybe like 300 and you're probably good because people don't build their nukers with tons of resistance. So polymorph, if he lands accuracy, Stone Skin won't stop it, is my point. If he lands debuffs. Armanz and Wukong just polymorph turn 1. Yeah. Yes. That's exactly what's going to happen. UDK in Stone Skin is a target for Armanz's sheep or Wukong's sheep. Right? Like that's how you deal with UDK Stone Skin, right? But that uses up that turn. That's time. That's a time waster, right? Or you force players to use up their Armanzes and their Wukongs, right? The whole idea in Siege is that you can only bring in each champion twice. So if there are like 6, 7, 8, 10 UDKs on defense, that means everybody's using up their Armanzes and their Wukongs to beat UDKs. And then they're not going to have those Armanzes and Wukongs available to beat other comps. This is Siege mode, right? It's a collective thing. So again, if you don't want the build, that's fine. I think it's a highly useful build if for no other reason that, first of all, in Classic Arena and Live Arena, you get to choose, right? Like if you put in a UDK and you banned their Armanz and they don't have a second solution for it, your UDK could win that entire Live Arena. So anyway, I mean, we don't need to get into a huge debate about this, but this is why I'm saying you don't need a ton of resist because you're not going to get enough resist to resist the buff removals. So you got to hope that the Stone Skin does that for you. And then you just want to make him as tanky and accurate as possible. And even, by the way, without Stone Skin on him, he's still a great tank. Right? He's still a great tank. He still absorbs all that stuff. People still have to solve him. So if you do remove his, like if you sheep him to remove his Stone Skin and then he comes back alive, now you have to deal with him a second time. So, all right. So let's go ahead and look at, I think this is pretty good as well. We'll talk about the takeover in just a sec. So this is better. Let's look at some of these. Do I have equip? No, I want the equipped stuff too. All right, so it looks like this has some speed on it, but I don't know that we're going to get away from that. We could drop a little bit of speed by swapping to this weapon here. And get a little bit more accuracy. We actually get some resistance back too, which is not a bad thing. All right, so what's his current? I think his current helmet doesn't have any speed on it, right? His current helmet doesn't have any. No, it does have it. It looks like it has 4 speed on it. Let's try this one. This has got a nice roll into defense here. Let's go ahead and roll this up. And hopefully, if we just land defense and accuracy and we don't land speed here, this could actually be a really nice, this could be a nice swap. Oh, we did get speed. Take it all the way up, see what happens. That could be a nice swap. Even with the additional 5 speed, you know, we're going to be pushing 5K defense now. Get a little bit more accuracy. Just check out the shield. Is there a shield that we can swap to? This is a nice shield. That would lose us 14 speed. Go ahead and roll this up. Now here we're hoping for accuracy. Resistance is not bad. I'd like to get away from the HP. The flat HP is okay, but it's not great. If we only get 1 roll in it, that's okay. Accuracy. Awesome. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and max these out. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to shoot me a DM. You know, if I'm talking to VTN here, you know, if you don't like you don't love the rebuild accuracy, nice. For some reason, let's not roll speed here. Let's roll, I don't know, anything else. HP, perfect. And we'll roll this one up as well. I don't know what we could get here that would really help. But okay. So that's pretty good baseline. We only lost 25 accuracy in order to simultaneously lose 21 speed, which is good. We picked up almost 1500 defense. We did trade away 26,000 HP. We're going to try to get a little bit of that back. Our accuracy isn't where we need it yet. Michael Henry, those kind of statements like irritate me. They do. Like most competent people who use arena champs use polymorph plus. Like, first of all, I'm competent in arena and I don't do what you're talking about because I do other things. Right. So it's like some people do one thing, some people do other things. Some people are in silver, some are in gold, some are in high gold. Like there's a whole lot of stuff going on. And when you're on offense, it's different than when you're on defense. And if you build your team composition according to a concept that your enemy doesn't understand, that's a benefit as well. This is a great build. I would absolutely use this build in live arena and do very well from it, with it against competent players. So it's like the way that you run it, if you don't like it, that's fine. That's fine. Like, don't do it. Do something else, but it'll work. And we already have somebody who's using a slow UDK build. So we're just going to try to make it even better. That's what we're doing. So, okay. Let's look at this stuff now. All right. So let's start with the ring. The HP or defense. We do want defense percentage on the ring if possible. That's a nice ring. I'd rather not use a blood shield ring on it. That's really nice. As defense percentage and HP percentage. We can get some HP back on it. That would be awesome. That's great. There is no perfect build. There's no perfect build on any champion. Every champion can be countered. And when you're on defense and you're not actively on defense, you're not like live defense, you do the best you can. You set up what you can do. And then you kind of move on. 5,500 defense. I'd say that's pretty good. Let's see. Let's see about see what we have. Yeah, this has accuracy on it. It's probably our best one. We'll probably stick with that. Let's go ahead and start glyphing the accuracy a little bit. We'll glyph the HP as well. Every little bit of HP helps. Now the banner is going to be a change because we want to lose the speed. Now I would say, accuracy would be the banner that I would go for here, but a lot of people only keep accuracy banners that have speed. Oh, here we've got one. So if we only have accuracy banners with speed, here's one as well. Prefer a 6-star. Now, how much speed are we currently getting? We're getting 12 out of our current. So let's just take this to 16 and see if we miss. We did. Awesome. Awesome. That's beautiful. Okay. So we're down to 112 speed. 5,800 defense, 50k HP. The HP is a little bit low. We can glyph a little bit more HP onto it. You could even shed more speed with that weapon eventually. This is a really nice 5-star piece here. Don't want to glyph the speed. We don't need to glyph the attack. I think maybe the one downside here is I think we've gone defense, defense, defense across the pieces. So in the future, you know, if you could find an HP percentage piece that was slow, because I mean, we were able to shed a lot of speed here. You know, you could potentially get back some of that HP. No background music, sorry. No, Michael Henry, I'm not mad about the idea. I don't really get mad. What I find irritating, especially in like in our community, here's the thing. And this is my philosophy for gaming anyway. If you find something that works, then it works. Right? So when people tell me a thing doesn't work or like this won't work because, it's like, yeah, but I do that anyway and it works. So one of us is right and one of us is wrong, right? Like when you tell me I can't do it and then I go and do it, that speaks for itself. Like it worked. It worked fine. And in fact, I think, you know, the experience of gamers in Raid is such that, like, especially if you're a free-to-play player, I do things all the time with champions that people tell me, oh, that champion's no good for that thing. Like, no, that champion's great for that thing. Right? And that's the whole point of my channel. It's like, especially if you're going to be a free-to-play player, you need to not worry about the meta, and you just need to worry about getting results. Now, this is going to get results. Right? This is going to get results. You have to use the champion the right way. If you use a well-built champion in a bad way, like a way that doesn't work with their kit and their build, then you're not going to have an effective result. If you use a poorly built champion, but you use them to their optimal like design, or you build around them in such a way that you optimize how effective they're going to be, then potentially you can work even in a bad build. I don't think this is a bad build, by the way. I just think this is a particular build. You have to use this champion in a particular way. So, by the way, even if this champion didn't have Stone Skin, if you had Ultimate Death Knight built this way, he's going to do really well for you. The one downside about this build, and I will say this right off the bat, is that we did shed a lot of HP. So you can see we have defense percentage here, defense percentage here, and defense percentage here. So I do want to just give one more look and see if there is a good HP percentage piece, even if we gained back like a few speed. Okay, so there is a piece here. We would lose 25 accuracy on it. We're at 287 accuracy right now, which I think is kind of a bare minimum. I would say, you know, you'd want... I mean, again, we're not trying to hit the cleansers or the supports. We're trying to hit the... So the question is it worth getting back 10,000 HP, giving away 675 defense and 25 accuracy? That would drop us down to 262 accuracy. That would take us back up over 200 resistance. I don't know if that was the piece I actually swapped out in the first place. What about one of these? What about this? We would lose, again, we lose 32 accuracy. Yeah, I think this is an okay accuracy. Yeah, we should look at the masteries. Okay, so all of these stats, the HP, the resistance, and the defense, are boosted by Lore of Steel. Increases the base set stat bonuses of all artifact sets that increase base stats by 15%. So all of those would be boosted by 15%. You certainly don't need kill streak, I don't think. I get why it's there. I don't think you need wrath either. I don't think you need life drinker. I think everything else is fine. But for this particular build, I would probably actually switch him into defense and support. You want to make him as tough to defeat as possible. You don't really need him to do any damage, right? So in this build, I would switch his masteries. I would go down the defense tree and the support tree. And what I would probably do here for support, I'm not going to actually do this. Okay, great, VTN. So what I would say here is, you went down sort of the healing tree and the shield tree, which is actually fine. That's great. But I would probably double up on the support tree. So I would go, there are two. This shadow heal, you want this. So shadow heal is really strong on UDK because a lot of times you're going to be coming up against a team that's like taking multiple rounds and whatever, and they're going to heal based on leeches. They're going to have, lifesteal. They're going to have continuous heals. They're going to have like mini little heals from whoever. And it's like every single time that happens, UDK gets 6% of his max HP back. So shadow heal is like a hugely beneficial arena mastery for UDK. In addition, you get to have delayed death, right? Which makes him harder and harder to kill as time goes by. You can definitely use blast proof. You could also use rejuvenation. So the question is like, if you're going to use rejuvenation and blast proof, what are you going to use here? Are you going to use the shield? Probably. And I think that's fine. You could use Exalted Death, which is nice. But this would allow you to come over. We don't want turn meter. I would probably go here into this. That'd give you a little bit more accuracy. Into Lore of Steel, which is going to give you more resist, more HP. And what's the other one that it gives you? Defense. So it's going to give you more HP, more defense, and more resist. So I think I think I would redo the masteries. Now the reason I'm not going to redo them right now is because I don't know if you also use UDK in like a PvE thing where you really want War Master on them. But I would consider getting to Master Hexer. You could certainly do that. I would probably remove Spirit Haste. You don't need Spirit Haste. So if you're going to use two things here, I would use Sniper, I think, for his provoke. This will boost his provoke chance. This should be 100% chance. But you could use that. Or if you want to go two things here, you could go Retribution and Deterrence. You can also use this. You can also use Selfless Defender. But you don't really need to. You don't need to on UDK. I wouldn't do that. So, yeah. So if you were just going to go for one thing here, you would probably go Lore of Steel into Master Hexer. You want to extend those decrease attacks. And then what's your capstone? That's a good question. I don't know. You could use any four of these, I think. Yeah, that's what I said. You can use Sniper for you're right. It doesn't use provoke. I'm sorry. It doesn't increase his provoke. You're right. It's this that increases the provoke. Yeah. Fearsome Presence increases provoke. So Sniper doesn't. You want Master Hexer. I always get caught up on that. Yeah. Sniper only increases regular debuffs and Fearsome Presence increases CCs. And also, please don't use that term. We don't say stuff like that. I don't mind you calling me out. But I don't insult people. And I don't expect to be insulted in my live stream. So thanks, Shock. All right. So, that's what I would do with his masteries. Now for blessing, again, brimstone here is not going to be useful. You're not going that many times, right? So I would probably change the blessing here to polymorph, right? Polymorph is going to be like everybody's got to hit him. So I would probably change it to polymorph. And again, this is why accuracy matters, like to have that polymorph on him. You could certainly do some other masteries. I think there are decent ones in here. Forget which one it is. I mean, yeah, you could use Temporal Chains. You could use Ward of the Fallen. You could use Intimidating Presence. I think Lightning Cage actually works too, but I think I would just go polymorph. I don't know that I would think too much about it. I think I would probably just put polymorph on him. I know, Shock, but I'm just letting you know. Right? All right. All right, cool. So there we go. I think, it's 3/4 of a rebuild. I want to leave you a little bit of opportunity to make some other decisions on your own. But like I said, I would probably go down the defense tree. If you're doing defense tree, make sure that you get Shadow Heal. It's incredibly valuable on UDK. And then, I do think that here you've got Lore of Steel, and that's an option. In the future, like as you move to improve this build, I would say you could potentially shed this 6 speed here on the attack. And I would look for protection pieces here as accessories if you can, get into Hydra Clash and get some of those. Because remember that these buffs continue, right? Like Stone Skin keeps going. You get more HP, more resist. If you can get to 9, great, awesome. If you can't, one of the things that you can do is if you can get 2 accessories, say you get a ring and an amulet, or a ring and a banner or whatever, put the 2 accessories on, and then you can come back into the artifacts and swap out 2 of these artifacts for a different set. There are great sets to use in him. Obviously, you could use accuracy. I would use accuracy before perception because perception gives speed, right? So you could use accuracy to boost his accuracy. You could use, what's a really nice one on him? Retaliation. Retaliation is actually really nice, right? He's going to be constantly getting counterattacks, and his counterattacks land provokes, right? So it's like retaliation could be a really nice filler set. So if you can get 2 of these accessories, you can then actually get additional utility on him. You could certainly put 2 pieces of Immortal on him. That's another 3% regeneration. That's going to make him even harder to kill. Resilience, more HP and more defense certainly makes him harder to kill. Protection would only really work. Yeah, I mean, it gives you speed. I was going to say if you can get 4 pieces, but you don't really want to do that. Defiant certainly works. Defiant is great. 10% defense, 15% reduction in AoE damage. And then, not righteous for this build, sorry. That would probably be it. Those are the ones I would focus on. So, Defiant, Resilience, Immortal, Retaliation, and Accuracy. Those are probably the ones I would focus on. You could certainly do a Resistance or even like a Defense, or what's the one in here? It's Fortitude. You could try Fortitude. Fortitude would be nice if you forge some of this. Okay, so that is it. Let's go ahead and move on. You use them everywhere you can. Hopefully this won't mess with too many of your other builds for him. This is still usable. Like, this build is still usable for certain teams in like Doom Tower and, some other content. But really, this is a PvP build. So you're going to use them in Arena, Classic Arena, 3v3 Arena, Live Arena, and Siege. Those are the places you're going to get the most value out of this guy. By the way, you can do a hybrid build. I'm a fan of hybrid builds. Like if you wanted to do, UDK in Stone Skin, but not make him slow, that's viable in other places. It's not as good in Arena, but it might still be okay. So, all right. Good luck with that UDK. I hope he provides some extra value to you. So this is what we are doing today with the takeovers, just so everybody knows. I don't have a ton of time. I'm going to try to do 2 or 3 more takeovers. A couple of things. First is we're doing rebuilds only. I'm asking you to have 10 million silver on your account. You are very welcome, PTN. So please have 10 million silver on your account. If you don't have 10 million silver, I'm not going to do your rebuild. So if you don't have 10 million silver and you can go get some silver right now, go ahead and do that. Like sell some gear or forge some gear and sell it. Run some spider in the meantime. I'm calling out specific rebuilds. So if you want this specific rebuild, then go ahead and react to Sun's message and we'll go for the takeover. The way that you get the takeovers, you have to be a member of my Discord community. There's a link in the description of this live stream. In the Discord, you just want to scroll down until you see the coaching corner. That is a section of the Discord channel. In there is a channel called the Wheel of Takeover. That's where you'll see Sun's message. He's going to reset it, or I'm going to reset it, and we're going to do the reactions once I announce the new rebuild. Okay, so I think what we're going to do for the second rebuild here is we are going to rebuild a nuker. Any kind of nuker, I don't care what it is, okay? But we're going for a PvP nuker. So 10 million silver, hopefully some decent gear. But I'll rebuild even, if you are level 50, I don't care. I will rebuild your arena nuker. So that's what we are going for next. Again, this is a siege focused takeover. So we're trying to rebuild champions specifically for siege, but basically that means all PvP rebuilds today. Okay, so we are resetting the reactions. Go ahead and you can react to Sun's message in the Wheel of Takeover channel in my Discord. And again, have your login information ready, please, so we can do this relatively quickly. And it's going to be 1 nuker. So I'm not rebuilding like 3 or 4 nukers. Now, if you have a Wukong is going to be awesome for this, so I can happily rebuild you a Wukong. If you have a nuker who ignores Stone Skin or ignores Unkillable or ignores block damage or something like that, any of those nukers, those are great. If you have a nuker like Supreme Elhain, who is just a void affinity beast who does massive damage, we can rebuild that kind of champion. If you have an arena nuker who is a little bit trickier, like a Rotos, like who's kind of a specialist, not that I can't rebuild that champion, but remember, I don't have every arena nuker in the game, and I don't have a Rotos. So I would probably say I would prefer not to rebuild a Rotos. But I'll happily rebuild, all the others that I mentioned or anybody like that. Some firm believers in crit capping UDK. Yeah, I get it. Valkyrie can hit very hard. So can other, like some supports, some tanks can hit really hard. Like Helicath hits extremely hard. I don't think of Valkyrie as a nuker. I don't personally think of her as a nuker, but you can build her as a nuker. Absolutely. I've seen her built as a nuker, and she smacks. She just crushes things. All right, let's go ahead and spin that wheel. We got 30 reactions here. So 30 people want an arena nuker rebuild. Remember, if you don't have 10 million silver, I'm just going to shut it down and respin the wheel. So make sure you have at least 10 million silver. So, son, we can spin that wheel. Thank you, sir. Shock one. I don't know if I've done a takeover for you before, Shock, but I don't know if if I still have your information. I do. Are we doing the same account or are we doing a different account? Same account. Okay. Shock likes to show off his account, so this might be a little bit more of a account showcase than a rebuild. We'll have to see. All right, we are in. Who are we doing the rebuild on? No, it's a separate takeover, so it's got nothing to do with the other takeovers. We don't worry about the other takeover. Takeover Tuesday is its own thing, so you don't have to worry. This didn't mess up your chances of getting a Takeover Tuesday. All right, Shock's got 10.1 million silver. Good job, Shock. All right, who are we rebuilding? Which champion are we rebuilding for you today? Let's go ahead and take a look at what potential arena nukers do we have here. Rathalos, Kandrafon. We've got Wukong. Tefrak. Ragash. Jock, are you there, buddy? There you go. Take a look at your Kandrafon. Okay. So I have a Kandrafon. But my Kandrafon isn't really built yet. I have so many arena nukers. I have like tons of top tier arena nukers. It's kind of ridiculous how many I got. And I got them all in a relatively short window. I had Genbo as my arena nuker. He's still my arena nuker forever. And I didn't really have another option. And then I pulled the Trunda and I was like, okay, I started building her. And then I pulled Magnar. And then I got a Kandrafon at some point. I got all the, I mean, I can't even remember how many. I've got all of these ones. I got Supreme Elhain now. I got 2 copies of Supreme Elhain. I got Ragash. I got all these champions. So I just ended up not really building Kandrafon. So Kandrafon's a little bit different. First of all, this is a pretty solid build, right? You're over 6k attack. You got your 100% crit rate, 245% crit damage. So this is nice. I would say, depending on where your account is, you could potentially want to push the crit damage, right? Like that could be nice. Also, you're running at 198 speed, which is, to my mind, on the slow side for an arena nuker. Because as your go first champions get faster, your speed tune spreads out and your nukers need to be faster as well. But here's the thing, Kandrafon plays differently, right? He doesn't always play based on speed. So he has this passive, damage increases by 40% while attacking under a veil or a perfect veil. So you typically want him to be under a veil or perfect veil. You want that boost, right? He also receives 40% less damage while under the veil. And it boosts this champion's turn meter by 15% each time this champion receives damage under a veil or perfect veil. So because he has this passive, you don't necessarily need to run him as fast, right? He gets extra turn meter boost, and he can kind of absorb a hit or two. Like, he's not going to necessarily get nuked out right away. Does not work if this champion is the only ally alive on this team. I didn't realize that was true. Places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 1 turn each time an enemy's turn meter is filled. So if the enemy is a go first team and they use like an arbiter, he's going to get his perfect veil, which means he's going to get this buff. So as a result, potentially we can run him a little bit slower, and we don't so like at 190 whatever, he might be that might be enough. That might be enough. He's not necessarily a go first champion like most arena nukers are. Let's go ahead and look at his kit. Attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target is under any buff. That actually hits decently hard, by the way. The A2 attacks all enemies, grants an extra turn, and resets the cooldown of on the hunt, which is this, if this attack kills an enemy. And then here, this places a perfect veil buff, an increased attack buff, an increased speed buff, and an increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. So he brings his own increased attack. Now, this does not grant an extra turn, right? So if you use this ability, then you have that perfect veil, you have the increased speed and all that stuff, all the buffs. But then you're using a turn. You're using a turn. Whereas if you just accept the perfect veil from the enemy's turn meter fill, then you can nuke right away. So, Shaq, who do you use this with? How do you have a team? Can I look at your arena? Like, do you have a team that you use with your Kandrafon? Okay, so you are using him in a go first team with another sort of defensive based nuker and an arbiter. Is this a team you use very much? Jacques? Jacques? Do you use this team much? It's certainly not a bad team, right? And I mean, one of the things that you have with Siffy, where is it? Yeah, so I actually have a couple of things here, but one of the things that you have with Siffy here is this block debuffs and increased defense, which is just like going to give him more of a chance to get around to his actual turn. I also like the fact that, you have a potential for, like the irresistible sleep and all that. Like, she's great. She's awesome. I want her. I don't have her. Team is used often, and you tend to mix it up depending on the enemy. Yeah. So when you use this team, like, do you have an AI set up for this team? So you do in fact you open with the nuke and you don't use the on the hunt, right? Because you're already getting the increased attack from Arbiter, and you're having her open with this, and you're having him open with the AoE decreased defense. And if he goes in front of Kandrafon, then Kandrafon has the decreased defense on. And if he goes behind Kandrafon, then he's just cleaning up Kandrafon's after the AoE. Yeah, I bet it works fine in Gold 5. So I think the only like viable aspect of this as a rebuild would be to see if we could potentially get more crit damage on him. I know, like, you already have him in lethal, right? Which gives you crit rate and ignore defense. So it's like it's a better Savage set. I think, I was talking about the speed. Like, it's a little bit slow, but I think for Kandrafon, it's probably actually close to a sweet spot. Like, if you could get an extra 5 or 10 or 15 speed on him, wouldn't be a bad thing. Like, if you could get these boots and re-roll these boots so that they landed on a speed ascension and get the additional 12 speed, that would put him in a really nice spot, right? Like, that would put him in a really sweet place. That would put him at a 210 speed. I think that's probably perfect for Kandrafon. You have crit damage with crit damage. This piece, I mean, because you're in lethal, let's go ahead and take a look at your lethal pieces. I know you're just flexing. That's fine. You just want to flex your Candrafon. You know, I think the helmet is the one piece that could potentially be swapped. You could do this kind of thing here. Right? Like we would actually roll this up to see what we could get. Like maybe we get a little bit of speed there. Maybe we get some crit damage there. Maybe we get, you know, I don't know. That would probably, those would be the two things we would want, speed and crit damage. And that boosts you to 112% crit rate, which might allow you to like swap out your weapon, which is giving you 11% crit rate if you could get more crit damage. The thing is, this weapon's actually got nice crit damage at 13%. Let's check the shield here, the speed shield. That's got 25% crit rate. So you could potentially get like a different shield here that had, say, 14% crit rate. And see if you, so we would still need a substatic crit rate. Let's specifically just look at shields. And maybe get some more crit damage or more speed in that way. So I mean, it's, you know, it's going to be pretty hard to swap out, but we need, that's almost there. That's a little bit too much crit rate given away. That's the right amount, but %10 extra crit damage. We're giving away 400 attack, but we can glyph back a little bit of attack. Let's see what we get when we roll these up. There's another 5% crit damage. And we got 5 more speed. So here we would get a little bit more speed. We picked up 16% crit damage and we traded away 380 attack. And when we glyph this, we're going to get a little bit more speed. I'm going to get a little bit of that attack back. It's not bad. It's certainly not critical. I think, you know, the question is the loss of attack worth the, or is the addition of crit damage worth the loss of attack? He also lost a little bit of HP. I don't know if we'll get any of that back. Will we get that back? We do. We'll glyph some of that back. I want to take a look at your, we have a Slayer piece here. Let's see what your equipped piece looks like. That's a very nice triple roll in attack percentage. And the Slayer piece does have attack percentage, but it's not an attack main stat. So we'd be giving away attack there too. And that would give us potentially fight. Yeah, I'm looking to see, like, you know, could we get him into 3 pieces of Slayer or 4 pieces of Slayer? I mean, it really depends how you're using them. By the way, if we're talking about a go second champion, Candrafon is a really good go second nuker, right? There are a few attack-based champions, attack-based damage dealers that can be good go second nukers. Wukong is one of them. Candrafon's another one. There are certainly other ones. I'm not saying they're the only ones, right? Like Hefrak can be amazing. You don't have to build a champion slow to go second. Like, that's not the goal, right? The goal isn't to like run him at 150 speed so he goes last, right? The idea is that you don't have to put on that last 20, 30, 40 speed and then speed tune a team around him to try to get all the extra speed out of it. But you don't want to be lapped. When you're on a go second team, what you don't want to do is have the enemy go 2 times for every time you're going, especially in live arena. So typically you want enough speed that they go first, but then you go before they get a second turn. And so if you drop too much speed up, like speed is valuable on a go second team, especially because you're not using a speed aura in most cases, and you're not using a turn meter filler. So you still want to run champions decently fast on a go second team. There are some exceptions, like, you know, Tormund doesn't matter that much. I mean, I would say he's better with speed, but if you don't have speed on him, okay. The UDK and a Stone Skin build, if you want to build him really, really slow, great. Like, that's a reason. But like, if you're going to use a cleanser on a go second team, you want your cleanser to go fast, right? Maybe even like 250, 260 speed, 270 speed. Because if they go first at 300 speed and they go through their full team, you want your cleanser going at the top of your turn order before the rest of your champions go. And you want that cleanser potentially slotting into any like improperly speed tuned teams. So if they have an arbiter that's going at 350, but their next champion is going at 250, that 30% turn meter fill will leave a gap. And that might be a place where like your cleanser slots in, or like your CC champion slots in, or something like that. So there are lots of ways to mess with the speed, even on a go second team. Yeah. I do think potentially, you know, we could get a little bit more crit damage here. And the question is it worth Oh, you're right. Ragash also gives a veil. Yeah, that's from that team, right? Okay. So what I would look at here is let's see about not just lethal. I don't think, I mean, Merciless is certainly good for Candrafon. And I also think Slayer is good for Candrafon. It would be kind of interesting to see what we could do here if we, you know, if we looked through all of this stuff. So first of all, let's look at crit damage with crit rate. So we have Merciless, but I think your gloves are too good. So this is a rebuild that would take more time, I think, to really do all of the steps, because we would have to try all of the different sets and compare them. And this is actually where the optimizer can kind of help you. Although sometimes you get a little bit stuck. So I do think, you know, we have an option here. I'm going to ask you, Jacques, do you want to make this swap? Do you want to glyph this stuff and get him a little bit faster with a little bit more crit damage and trade away a little bit of a HP and attack for it? Or would you rather sit on the build that you have right now? Because I'm happy to go either way. I don't think it's really a huge difference. I think you'll probably get a little bit more damage out of this build. I think you're trading away, you know, 7% attack for 16% crit damage. Something like that, right? So I think it is an increase. I also think the additional speed is not a bad thing, additional 5, but we don't have to make the swap if you don't want to. If you feel more comfortable just sitting on the silver, we can go ahead and look at that. Okay, so you want to sit on the build? All right. The only other thing I would take a look at here is just the you did roll into crit damage here. Okay. I mean, you've even got the, you got a lot of the good ascensions here. So if we look at the ascension here, you've got crit damage on the gauntlets, and you've got crit damage on the amulet. So all you really need to do is get this switched over to attack percentage and maybe speed on the boots. So you're going to need a little bit of dust to do that. And you're out of chaos dust at the moment. But it's a good build. It's a good build. I do think ultimately this is for as good as your gear is, this is a low number of crit damage if he's going to be one of your main arena nukers. Right? Like, I know he gets the crit damage buff from his skill, but even still, like, I run my Genbo at like 310, and he gets the crit damage buff as well. So remember that the crit damage buff isn't additive, it's multiplicative, so it's literally a 30% multiplier. So the higher your crit damage is, the better it is. It's not just like, it doesn't turn this from 245 to 275. It literally takes this and multiplies it by 30%. So I do think it's, when you get into the argument about attack versus crit damage is the more valuable stat. But you do want to consider sort of how much you're trading away. So I don't run my attack-based nukers at 6,000 attack too often. I'm usually happy with even like, I would say, if I can get to 4,500 or 5,000, just over 5,000, that's a really good number to sit at. And then I'm shooting for 300 crit damage. Like I think I said it in the video the other day, like 260 on the low end, maybe 310, 315 on the high end. That's sort of the sweet spot for me. So like 275, 280 is a really nice number to look for. And then that multiplies with that crit damage buff anyway. Okay. So we're going to end Shock's showcase here. I hope you enjoyed it, Shock. Let's go ahead and go for a new rebuild. So our next rebuild will be, I'd like to do some support rebuilds. So it doesn't matter what kind of support. Actually, maybe it should matter. Now, maybe we'll do a couple. We'll do a couple of different support rebuilds. So it could be a turn meter filler, it could be a debuffer, it could be a cleanser, it could be a reviver or a healer. It could be kind of anybody that you run as a support. So we're gonna go ahead and reset the wheel of Takeover right now. And yeah, let me just show you some things from my account here. So supports are actually I think the supports are the most important aspects of building an arena composition. Your supports are the glue that hold the composition together, right? They determine the identity of the composition. And I'll give you an example. I'll just show you some like teams in arena that I run. And these aren't like the only teams. Usually what I do is I just kind of manually swap teams in. But so this is my Go First Arena team, right? So the two supports here, actually there's 2.5 supports here. Obviously, Arbiter determines if I win the speed race. She and Deacon give me increased attack and decreased defense, 2 turn meter fills, and that helps my nukers get to the speed that they need to get. Unfortunately, now I just added like so much speed. I added like 17 more speed to my Arbiter. My Arbiter is now disconnected from this entire team. So she's way too fast. But that being said, this is when we say Go First team, it's Arbiter that determines that it's a Go First team, right? It's not my nuker. It's not my Wukong. Wukong doesn't determine anything about the identity of this team. The team is determined by the concept, and the concept is dictated by the supports that I choose. So for instance, I might run something, these are all Go First teams probably. Yeah, so let's say I was going to run, I know this is a slow team and I don't really care about going first, so I want to run a more defensive team. So if I'm going to run a UDK team, right now it's a tank and survive team. So I'm like, okay, I don't need a lot here. This is the guy that's providing my front line of defense. he needs some help. He needs a cleanse or a block debuffs or both. He provides a little bit of healing, but who could I back him up with? How could I like support him? So I might say, okay, I'm going to throw in Mithrala. I want a defensive-based nuker because he's given me a defensive buff, and I want somebody who's really tanky. And then I want a reviver in case anybody goes down. AoE revive would be best. AoE revive with a cleanse and a block debuffs would be even better. Like, here we go. Now I've got a composition. And again, it's determined by the supports. Like, I literally take my nuker based on the team that I've got. By the way, I could still do this. This also works fantastic. Right, so I could have a defensive-based nuker. I could have an attack-based nuker. Why Wukong? Because if he dies, who cares? He comes back in 3 turns anyway, right? And this team is going to be living, right? My Mithrala is super resistant, so I have a cleanser that is highly resistant. My Pythion is not as resistant, but is still pretty resistant. You know, I might not want to take these champions into this particular team because they have a spirit-based nuker. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take out my Force champions, and I'm going to put in, I want magic champions, right? So I'm going to go to my filter. I want magic affinity champions. I'm like, how can I get, you know, tanky here? And so maybe what I do is I'm going to bring in Elva. And let's say probably like I'm going to bring in Goffred, right? Now, Elva is going to probably make sure that I go first, right? It's kind of a go first team. It's not a go second team, but it's a tanky go second team. And again, I might pull Wukong there and go for, you know, somebody else. Now, I do have to deal with the Drexler here, but actually the biggest concern is getting Duchess handled. So I want somebody that's going to hit her hard. And so, you know, I want to bring in a strong nuker that's magic affinity, right? And Drexler, like, once everybody's dead, I just work Drexler down. I've got heals, I've got speed boosts, I've got strengthens, I've got cleanses, I've got block debuffs, I got an AoE stun. By the way, if you don't know Goffred, Goffred's insane for Arena. He is so good. I don't have mine fully built out yet. Like, I'm still working on him. But if you check out, he's got a decreased defense and a provoke on his A1. He's got an AoE, 100% AoE stun on his A2. He has an increased defense and he removes decreased defenses and weakens. He also has this passive. Whenever an ally is attacked while under a block damage buff, placed by this champion, has but it's the second part here. If an ally is about to get killed by a fatal hit, blocks incoming damage and places a block damage buff on them for 1 turn. He basically gives everybody on your team, or at least the first person on your team, like a skull crown passive, almost, right? Like they're about to get killed, blocks that damage and puts block damage on them. So it gives block damage for 2 turns for the hit that would have killed them and for the rest of the next turn. And he's defensive based. He's really tanky. He's got a good base HP and defense. And then he hits decently hard too. Plus he's got that AoE stun. So I might go like this. Again, the concept provided by the supports, right? And then the nuker is just whoever fits that concept. So any support, if you need a cleanser done, if you need a go first champion done, if you need anybody that you want, I will do a rebuild specifically for PvP. Remember, you need to have 10 million silver on you. So don't forget about that. And yeah, let's go ahead and spin. We'll give it 1 minute. We'll give it 1 minute and then we'll spin that wheel. Let's see, where is the I use Wukong everywhere. He is a phenomenally good champion. I just did a tier list that ranked him as the 3rd best login legendary ever. But like the top 3 are so good, I would call them all top 25 legendaries. Like they're all in the top 25. Maybe even higher. Like Wukong might be like the 13th best legendary in the game or something. I don't know. He's so good. He is so good. All right, so did we just spin that, son? Son, he gets bored. He goes into the other channel and messes around. It's like, I don't need to do this takeover. All right, so I think this is a new winner, right? Grab PL, congrats. And send me your login info. And we will rebuild you any support that you want. So send me your login information and then tell me the support that you want built. And also, if, by the way, because the support defines a team concept, let me know the team concept. Like if there are other champions that you intend to use this particular support with, let me know. If you don't have a particular team composition in mind, let me know that too. And I can look at your roster and kind of build you a team composition with that particular support. I agree, Michael. I love the fact that you can build Wukong like in both directions. And in fact, when you get pretty good gear, you can build him for both simultaneously. Like my Wukong is built as a buff stripper, and he still hits really hard. I'll show you. So you can see he has 338 accuracy. I think I said before he's like 350. So I think with masteries he floats around 350 in most fights. Yeah, I did get it. And he runs fast. He runs faster than I would run him as a nuker, right? Like if I was running him at a nuker, I wouldn't run him at 251. I would run him at like 221, or 231. So he's running fast, but he still has over 5k attack and 278% crit damage. And this is what I was talking about with shock, right? Like I run a little bit less attack and a little bit more crit damage. And so this is almost a nuker build that I would have just for a nuker. If it was a straight up nuker, I would swap out the accuracy. I would lose the accuracy, maybe trim a little speed, get him down to, like I said, maybe 225 to 235. Trim some of that accuracy, and then maybe boost the attack a couple of hundred and boost the crit damage over 300 if I could get it. So that's how I would build my nukers. But he basically is built like a nuker, plus he's got buff strip. If I had to swap something on him, I would probably swap a little bit of attack for a little bit more accuracy. I would love to get his accuracy over 400 because that's really where it needs to be. So like if I could get him out of one of these speed sets and into a decently fast perception set and just get, another 50 accuracy, 60 accuracy, 70 accuracy, like I would definitely do that. You want a Lazarius rebuild. Okay. I don't have Lazarius and I've never built one. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to look at Lazarius and to see like how I might build them. Because I don't want to do a takeover where I make your champion worse. I don't want to do that. I know how good this guy is because I come up against him. And I've looked at his kit before. I know, that it's good, but I honestly don't run a Lazarius. I don't own a Lazarius. So I want to just take some time and feel like, okay, let me figure this out. Now I know his second form is an attack form, but let's start with his support form and take a look at the support form first. Because it's his base form, and I know there's a speed change, but he's going to be running at his support speed when he spawns in. He's got that awesome aura. Shield attacks all enemies before attacking, places a block debuff buff on all allies, also decreases the duration of all buffs on all enemies by 2 turns. Fills the turn meter, decreases turn meter. At the start of this turn, places a perfect fail buff and a 50% increase accuracy buff on them for 2 turns. Okay, so when he goes, he's going to get an increased accuracy buff. And then he could transfer into his new form, and he'll have the increased accuracy buff on him. Although I don't know if he needs it in this. So here, attacks all enemies, will ignore shield and increase defense buffs. Removes all buffs from this champion, increases attack for each debuff removed. At the start of this champion's turn, places a 50% increased attack. When he transforms, does he get this buff in the new form? Like, is that considered his new turn? Because it's an extra turn mechanic. So does he get both sets of passive buffs? Yeah, he gets it. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna lose one duration on this buff. So your perfect veil and increase accuracy tick when you switch forms. So they're on one turn, and then you get these buffs that are up for 2 turns. All right, so here's the thing. Like, we could certainly build him as a nuker. The downside is he is such a good support in this first form. Right? He has a chance to decrease the duration of all buffs by 2 turns. That's basically a cleanse. Most buffs are only up for 2 turns. He places a block debuffs on every ally on every ally and a block buffs on every enemy after attacking. So he strips buffs, block debuffs your team, and block buffs the enemy team with this AoE. That's awesome. By the way, this is also awesome, right? Fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20%, increase attack and strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. Phenomenal. So this is a great opener. This is a great opener. I guess it really depends who you're putting him into a team with. Because this is just my personal opinion. And if you want me to go through with this rebuild, I absolutely will. But this is just my personal opinion. Good arena nukers are a bit of a dime a dozen. There are 25 really good arena nukers. There's like 3 or 4 champions that are on this level of support, I think. Now, you can always swap them in and finish the deal if you need to. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can use him as a second nuker, kind of the way I use Wukong. You build him to do his primary job of support, and then you throw some extra damage on him, some crit rate, some crit damage to try to get the full build in and do all of it, right? But the difference between this guy and Wukong is that you want this guy really fast. Like, he should be running extremely fast in order to be as good a support as you want him to be. And he needs that accuracy. So to build him with the speed, with the accuracy, and then still get in all the damage would really require god tier gear and like a full Great Hall. You know? You prefer he's a support role. Yeah, so I'm going to take a look at how you have him built and see if I can maybe give you, you know, some help on how to build him. Maybe I misunderstood. Like, you don't want to build him you want to build him as a support role. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure because this is not my account. Okay, so I need to get onto your account. Okay. You want him built in the support role. That's what we were doing. We were doing a support takeover. I don't know why I got stuck on the nuking thing. All right, so let's go ahead and get into your account. Your password is not working. Yeah, password's not working. not working. Is there a space? Is there a capital? Is there a special symbol that maybe you've forgotten? Maybe it's that? Okay. Let me try that. That's not working either. We could, yeah. Take a sec, figure it out. I'll log back into my account. See if you can, maybe you have to change it. I don't know. I have Mezamel, by the way. I just pulled her. I didn't even pull her from a shard. I didn't do this on stream. I didn't record this. I talked about it briefly. So you know how you get these remnant summons. So I did a remnant summon and I got Mezamel. I pulled Mezamel. I have the books for her, by the way. I think I have I think I can fully book her out. It's because it's 6 books and then 5 books. And I think I have 11 books. No, I have 9. So I'm close. I have 11 legendaries. Okay, so I'm close. I don't know if I should build her, by the way. So as far as like, you know, arena nukers are concerned, I'm sure she hits hard. And she'll ignore unkillable and block damage buff. And it will not counter will not trigger counterattacks. So that's kind of cool. Like she comes in this form, right? So you can place an increased attack, increased crit rate, and increased damage buff on her for 3 turns. This grants an extra turn. Now you could try attacking, if somebody had Stone Skin, you could ignore Stone Skin and potentially kill one target and block revive it, which seems pretty cool. That does seem pretty cool to me. So having that option, right? But the better option being you place this buff, then you swap her over here and you use the AoE that has a chance to place a True Fear and ignores unkillable and block damage. So that seems pretty cool. But here's the thing. I don't know that I need her, right? Like if I go ahead and I say, like, let's just look at the arena nukers that I have. Well, first of all, I could make Rathalos arena nuker. He's not. Wukong, you've already seen my Wukong. I have a Leal who I actually want to rebuild specifically for Siege because he's awesome. So this guy steals buffs. He ignores strength and stone skin, increased defense, and ally protection. Right? He can change increased defense to decreased defense, and he changes strength into a weaken. And so, like, he hits decently hard. He doesn't hit as hard as some arena nukers, but because of the extra stuff that he does, like, he's highly valuable. I actually really like this guy. I've got Nishak when I need him. I've got Eric's when I need her. Or him. I don't actually know. I've got Ray. I've got Harima. Got Magnar, who's got 5-star blessing. Got Skull Crown. I've got Gembo. Now, Gembo is built the best. You can see he's actually 311% crit damage. He only needs 70% crit rate. And again, 5,500 attack. This guy hits so freaking hard. What I really need is a 4th blessing on him, right? Like I need a 4-star blessing so I can get this extra 30% crit damage. If I could get that extra 30% crit damage, that'd be insane. And I could either rebuild him to like drop some of the crit damage if I needed to and get more attack stat or more speed or something, because I do actually need more speed on this guy at this point. Actually, let me just do this right now. That's awesome. Okay, so that's going to allow me to get 12 speed there, which is actually going to not quite get him re-speed tuned, but I'll get him closer. I don't have Marishka, no. I'll show you my Void Legos. These are all of my Void Legos. Pulled Cardiel. It was my first from a shard. This was a fusion. Allele was a shard. It was my second. He wasn't my second. It was my second usable one. Actually, I have more. Yeah. So Little Miss Annie was actually my second. Free champion, free champion, free champion, free champion, free champion. Tormund was a guaranteed champion. Supreme Elhain was a fusion, who I then got again from a shard. Demesia was like my 6th shard. This is a free champion. Raglan, I think, was either my 3rd or 4th shard. So I've pulled, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've pulled 8 Void legendaries from shards in just over 3 years of playing. You know, you get about 3 a year. You get about 3 a year. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna try getting our takeover account here. By the way, I owe all the progress of this account to your advice. Well, I'm glad that that I can help you out. That's fantastic, and I appreciate the kind words. I try to help people as much as possible. That's what the channel is here for. We are in. And it's always rewarding to me when people say stuff like that. They're like, "Hey, man, you know, you really helped me out. The channels helped me out. Your videos helped me out. Your takeovers helped me out." I appreciate it. I think one of the things about my channel that I'm learning more as the channel grows, not just grows, but like has more of a footprint, right? Because the number of subscribers isn't really your footprint, right? It's the number of videos that people watch, the longevity of the channel, whether they recognize you, whether they know what you're about, you know, and that kind of stuff. So, but really it comes down to views. And so the longer you've been around, the more people have watched you typically. And the thing that I'm learning about it as that footprint grows is that I originally thought there was a niche for me in this space. That I do something that other content creators maybe don't do as much, right? That I focus on a little bit more teaching concepts rather than just solving problems and presenting solutions. And what I've learned is that is really something that people appreciate. Like, I can't tell you how many times I get comments where it's like, you've explained something to me that nobody else ever had. And I've also found that there's a lot of people who don't want that. There are a lot of people who are like, I don't need that. I want the plug and play solution, you know, and I'm willing to just skip past like your well thought out and delivered explanation to get to the end and just like copy the stats down in the masteries and stuff. So it's, you know, it happens in both directions. Hey, Shooter's in the house. Good to see you. Tributor's in the house too. I'm not going to lie. I owe all of my progress to me, though your videos certainly haven't hurt. That's actually a good way to think about it. I never say that somebody owes me for like I made your account. I made your account. Like, that's not my attitude at all. This is your journey. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. And if I could help you on your journey in some way, that's great. But you're the one who's had to put in the work, and you're the one who has to live with the results, right? Like, so it's your journey. It is not mine. I'm just happy to be a part of it. 6.71 million grab. 6.71 million. What I have learned here is I don't necessarily need 10 million, so maybe that number was too high. I was going to be pretty hardcore about when this stream started. I was like 10 million, 10 million. And now I'm kind of like, oh man. But he did say I could buy the silver if I need it. It says missing silver you can buy in the clan shop. There is 4 million silver there. So here's the deal. He has the clan gold to get to the 10 million. He does. He has the clan gold to get to the 10 million. He said I could buy it if I need it. So I'm gonna say you qualify, Grab. I'm gonna say you qualify. And if I don't have to spend it, I won't spend it. And if I do have to spend it, I will. Okay. So we want Lazarius here, and we want him built for Arena. Now, quick, review. Who do you have a team that you use him in already? Do you have like an Arena team built with him? Or is this kind of, you just throw together the team and so you don't have like a pre-made team? This is the team you use him with? What's up with the spending account takeover? Like, yeah, I am offering paid takeover services now. It's been really nice. I've worked with a bunch of players. They've been all great. Everybody's been really friendly and helpful and like enjoyed the takeovers for the part. We've been able to move some accounts, forward and progress. I think the deal that I'm offering right now is it's money. So it's not, I'm not giving it away for free. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to get paid for my time. But I think it's a very reasonable price compared to what I've seen from other content creators. And so if anybody is interested in paid takeovers or coaching, you can go ahead and DM me and I'll set you up. I'll send you back the scheduling and the pricing. But yeah, I'm doing, for the most part, I'm doing 3-hour takeovers. And I've done about 8 or 10 so far, somewhere in that vicinity. And it's been really fun and I've enjoyed it. And I'm glad that it's helping and people seem to appreciate it. So if you are somebody who's done a paid takeover, and you don't mind a little bit of advertising for me, you can go ahead and say, like I did a takeover and it was good or not, or whatever. You could ask somebody I'm not going to maybe I should ask for testimonial. I don't know. We'll see. You have a few champs like Mithrala, Sun Wukong, Armand, Arbiter. Okay. I think that, what do I think? So I think that Lazarius, I think I've seen Lazarius used in 2 ways. Now, the first is as a standalone go first champion, right? Like instead of Arbiter, you use Lazarius. And I think the reason to do that is because you have the 115 base speed, so you can get him very fast, right? He's got 5 higher base speed than Arbiter. Even though the speed aura is 5% slower, typically you can run him with like an Armand's or a Wukong, and you're only giving away 2 speed, right? Now, Lazarius gives you the increased attack that Arbiter gives you a smaller turn meter fill of 20%, but because you decrease the turn meter of the enemies by 20%, it mostly makes up for that in most cases if you build them with enough accuracy. So you can just use him as your speed lead. Remember, he's not your aura lead, but he's your speed lead, right? He's the fastest champion on your team. And so I've seen him used that way, and then you would back him up, usually with if you're going on a go first team, with a second turn meter filler who brings you something else. So you could do like an Astrid, right, who brings you a AoE weaken, and additional turn meter decrease. Now you also get a increased speed buff, and this is another increased attack. You lose the value of that extra increased attack. You have 2 Astrids. That's insane. Congratulations. That's just sick. Neither one is built fast enough, by the way. They both need to be faster. But, this one's in protection, I think, right? So, yeah. But that's awesome. You could have like a PvP one and a PvE one, or 2 PvP ones. That's insane. That's awesome. Okay, now Mithrala is a great champion to pair with somebody like Lazarius because you get a lot of flexibility out of her. She also gives you an increased defense, increased attack, plan, strength, and all that. But if you're just going to build a go first team, you'd probably want a second turn meter filler. And let's see who that would be. Okay. I mean, Deacon and Estrid feel really good. You could certainly use Arbiter. Oella, I actually just came up against a really good Oella recently. This is a 30% turn meter fill, so she's a good choice too. Let me see some. Oh, she's from your clan boss team, so you can't change her speed. Gotcha. Yeah, she's not fast enough to be a turn meter filler. You got 2 Uga. All right, so I think potentially, if we were looking at a go first team, I think you really have 2 options here. I think your best option is probably this into Wukong. I might even do that. You build Wukong as a nuker with a bit of accuracy. You can use his AoE as the nuke. You know, that's going to give you a lot. The other option here is take out Arbiter. Right? You can do this maybe into Wukong and then into your nuker. Now I'm not sure who you're running as your nuker. But for the sake of argument, let's say this. You have another option, which would be to put him kind of with a hybrid team, where you would do something like kind of do something like that. And that way, if you don't win the speed race, you have a lot of opportunities to get back into it. Maybe not even Elva here. Maybe somebody more like Wixwell or Valkyrie. Not sorry, Martyr, not Valkyrie, Martyr. I wish it was Valkyrie. Valkyrie would be better. But maybe Wixwell is the option here. Now you don't have a reviver, right? Like, but you almost don't need it. You also don't have really great options for revive for arena. I mean, Elva's good. Don't get me wrong. Elva's very good. Soul of the Drakes is good, and Rector Drath are all good, but they're all single target revives, and I don't see an AoE reviver. You have Gorgorab. Is Lazarius is he a reviver? If he's the reviver, then we don't. He's not a reviver, is he? Where's the revive come from? Is the passive or something? Oh, revive a random ally. That's what it is. Okay. So he has a revive, but again, kind of weak. Although not bad. So then you could pair him with another single target reviver and it might work out pretty well. I still kind of like this comp though. I like this comp a lot because Wixwell actually gives you a lot here in Arena. So he gives you that decreased attack. He gives you the shield. Here, the increased defense, intercept. He has a provoke. I mean, yeah. Okay. I think we're just, you can mess around with this. I could get stuck in this all day. Let's go ahead and build you, let's rebuild him towards that support role where we're going to hopefully speed tune him with either an Arbiter or we're going to have him be the fastest champion where he's got on more of a hybrid team. So more of the second team. So let's go ahead and just figure that out based on the Arbiter speed. Let's take a look at your Arbiter. Now, maybe that your Arbiter's too slow. I don't know. No, you're doing great. 306, is that what it was? 306. Beautiful. Awesome. And you still have places where you can still get speed there. You can definitely get speed there. Yeah, so your speed's going to keep increasing. So if she's running it over 300, right, let's just go ahead and break out the calculator for a quick second. Now, she's currently running at 306. But so if we were running at 306 and then we divide that by 1.3, she gives a 30% turn meter fill. He would need to run it at least 235, but we're going to end up running her faster. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we run her at, say, 330 divided by 1.3. So 254, we need to run him at least 254. So we want to get more speed on him. So let's shoot for at least 250, between 250 260. If we can get more onto him, we will. We need to remember that we need the accuracy. So if we can get him to, let's say 250 and 400 accuracy, that's golden. If we can do that, that would be the idea. Now you have him in 3 perception sets. You also have a protection piece that gives resistance. You have a Slayer piece that's not going to give him anything valuable for him. So we might take that away and get him a more defensive piece, or if we can get a piece. Yeah. So the nice thing about protection is if you can get 3 pieces, you get 12% speed. And you can do that with potentially 2 accessories and, or 2 pieces and 1 accessory, which you have. So if we can find fast protection pieces, we can actually get an additional 12 speed. And maybe even depending on the, the substats, we'll see what we can get. Now, one option to get the accuracy that you need, well, that banner, that's trading away speed, but let's see if there is a good accuracy banner with speed. See if there's anything equipped. So that would be the one. So we'll have to roll that up and see. I like revenge accessories in general, but we need accuracy. Another speed roll. Come on. HP percentage is not bad, honestly. We would be trading away at least a few speed here, but this would get you most of what you need in terms of speed. His HP is actually pretty low. I don't know why that. Crit damage gauntlets. We're using him for his second roll. What does he get on the first one? Is it an increase? So he's not getting the crit rate anyway, right? All right, so I just want to double check with you here. Are we going to sacrifice his second form? Or do you want to try to do everything? Because what I would highly recommend is if your gear isn't there, he is so good in his first form. If we just concentrate on that, you know, and then not worry so much about like crit rate and crit damage for his second form, you can still come in here and do a little bit of damage if his second form is useful. But if you really want to make him valuable in both forms, the stat burden is going to be intense. So I understand, like, this is why you have the Slayer. You want the 5% so that when you swap over here, you're trying to get to 100%. But that's not working, and that means he's not running optimally as a support either. Like, he's not running optimally in either role right now. Those are pretty good gauntlets, even 5-star. We can focus on one form. Okay, that's what I would recommend. So I do think Perception set is the set that we're going to probably use the most of. We're going to look at the protection as well. So we're going to look at protection and perception for now. We might consider speed if we have to, or divine speed. You know, the only other piece that I would think about would be maybe impulse. He has some really fast impulse stuff with some accuracy on it. That could potentially be interesting. So substats, let's go. Actually, let's start with the primary stat. See if there's any. So this has 22 accuracy on it. This has 30 accuracy. That's got 18. That's 20. What was this? 22? 22. All right, let's go ahead and ascend this if you have. Let's see if we can get a speed boot with speed ascension. HP is not bad. Attack is, for him, it's not awful. That's some accuracy. P. Come on, we got to hit on one of these. Actually, not awful. No chaos does. Okay. All right, we didn't get lucky there. Let's look at protection. Any other set here? Is there speed? That's 5-star. All right, so I think we're probably going to stick with the boots we've got. Or maybe we swap them over to T. Yeah, we can get out of the attack a little bit and get into the HP a little bit. Boost base HP. Okay, so we'll probably swap into those. Let's go ahead and check the chest pieces. Attack percentage. We don't really care that much about the main stat on his chest piece. He's got 5 speed on it right now, but he's got 30 accuracy. I mean, this is a better piece for Lazarius. This is definitely an upgrade. It's also a great piece for Deacon. But Lazarius is replacing. Like, we're not... Unless we're running them together, which we could be. But this would give you a little more defense. We could glyph it for a higher speed. It's a little tiny bit more accuracy. Might steal that just to get him more defenses. All right, let's look at the gauntlet. This is where I think we're actually going to see some benefit. HP, that could be perfect. That's nice too. Jeez. Doesn't have crit rate on it, but all right, so we've got a couple that we can roll. Let's go ahead and roll this. Want to land speed and accuracy if possible. Defense is not bad. We want to avoid that attack if we can. One more time. Speed. All right, that's an unfortunate situation here. Let's accuracy, crit. Yeah, I knew it was going to roll crit damage. It's going to give me another triple crit damage. Speed. Man, they are not giving us the rolls. They're just avoiding the stats that we want. It's just not. See if Impulse has any. That's not bad. That's actually not bad. Let's see if we can find another piece in the Impulse set that would be worth considering. That's fast. If we're checking Impulse, we should check speed, right? We should. So it looks like the helmet doesn't have speed on it. Or it doesn't have speed and accuracy. Maybe it has just speed. No, it looks like the helmet doesn't have any speed on it. Let me double check this. I don't like the fact that you can't just click on it and get it when you're in the fitting room. So it's crit rate and crit damage. So we could get potentially a lot of speed out of that. Let's see. Speed and accuracy. I mean, impulse is better than the speed set. I'm not saying that we want to take speed instead of impulse. I'm just saying that if we are checking just based on that, we should consider all our options. All right, so let's just look at this piece. Let's go ahead and look at the shield. I think the shield was really pretty good. Okay, so it's not phenomenal. We could actually maybe upgrade that shield. What do you use Baron Geary for? Because it doesn't look like he's in a Bommel build. Is he built for anything else, or is he just a faction crypt team? Or faction crypt champ? Because that is a very fast shield. And I think I was already looking at some other pieces. So this feels like that's almost like a guaranteed, I gotta yoink that. That just feels really like too much for him. By the way, I can roll this one up as well. Let's see if we roll speed or accuracy. Speed. Accuracy. Faction crypts. Okay, so yeah, so we can definitely swap him out here. Now, the only things, I don't think we have to roll these two, because the only thing that we're going to roll into is, a damage stat or maybe like HP percentage here. So we would be adding 39 speed. We haven't glyphed yet, so we're going to add probably 50 speed. Maybe a little bit more. I think we could get him close to 300. We might be able to hit 300. If you can get some dust and get these boots, you'll get 12 additional speed there. So you'll definitely get over 300. If you're using them with Arbiter, though, this is enough. You don't need more speed than this. And we've gotten a little bit of extra accuracy here. And again, we're going to glyph that. We did get a little bit of HP. The defense is not, it's a tiny dip in HP. I'm sorry, in defense. Obviously we've traded away the crit rate and the crit damage. Let's go ahead and look at the ring. So we could consider a Revenge Ring or a Blood Shield ring. I might put him in Blood Shield, honestly. I might put him in Blood Shield as the best choice. Even if it's not great stats. Because you can use them in a lot of places where that Blood Shield might be useful. I don't actually love that ring. There's an interesting chat going on right now. Jeez. Well, exactly what's happening. The question is, do we care more about defenses or special? Let's just let's see what we've got here. This is nice. This is nice. That's nice. Pretty nice. This is actually the best one. It's a 5-star too. Let's just see if it rolls into HP percentage or defense percentage. Your Sand Devil's low, yeah. I mean, if you can get some dust in the future, you want it. Like anytime there's free dust from an event or something, that can be pretty good. Yeah, I might just go with this one. Oh, I forgot we're kind of low on silver here, so I'm not gonna max out. All right, so let's go ahead and throw some glyphs on this. I'm getting a little bit of lag in the game now. Probably my computer. All right. Bit more tanky, which is good. All right, let's go ahead and glyph this out. This, by the way, you use this. You go for the 8. That's what we're hoping for. We're gonna spend the silver here and hope for a big result. 7. Beautiful. That was awesome. That was awesome. Let's push that accuracy up over 400. This is a really nice piece for him. That accuracy is actually, I probably should have put a big accuracy glyph on him, but I just have a tendency to not to do that. I don't want to waste people's 6-star glyphs. This is definitely a 4-star. You could go for a 6-star if you wanted it, but that's good the way it is. Again, this could be a 6-star speed glyph on that piece. Any triple rolls, especially in speed sets, right? Like in impulse, in perception, in speed, in divine speed, any triple rolls can be, you could put the 6-star glyphs on them. I generally use 4-star glyphs to flesh out speed, because you get a lot of 4-star glyphs, which is nice. The 3 stars and 4 stars you use for a lot of this stuff. And then the 5-star goes on 5-star pieces that have at least a double or triple roll in speed or quad roll in speed. And then the 6 stars go on anything that has a triple or quad roll in speed. So like here, even if it doesn't have a roll, you could throw a 4-star speed on it. I would probably do a 3-star speed glyph here just because it doesn't have a roll. So, if I get 1, that's fine. If I get 2 or 3, that's awesome. Because this is a more usable piece because of the double roll and accuracy, like I might have spent a bigger glyph on speed here. But again, we're basically going to flesh this out with 4-star glyphs. And I think we're going to get into I think we're going to be in a really nice place with this champion. This would be I would probably use a 6-star here. That hurt. Let's get a bit better. At least 12. There we go. Okay. Yeah. And so now we're running at 295. That's a much better place to be. We traded away a little defense, but we actually made up for it in HP. So I think he's going to be more survivable at this stance. His resistance, whatever. His accuracy is now at 426, which is a better place to be. 378 wasn't bad. I'm not saying you had bad accuracy here, but this is going to be good for him. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to save this as a champion preset. And then because we're using up all your silver, so you can go ahead and do that. I want to take a quick look at his masteries. I'm okay with this. I think this, the cycle of violence, all that, you're really leaning into the attack role here, and we're kind of shifting him more into the support role. So what you might want to consider is things like the turn meter, the turn meter masteries, right? Both the debuffs and the buffs. Let's look at him because he gives both, I think, right? So shield buff, block debuffs buff, block buffs debuff, increase attack and strengthen buffs. So on this side, in this stance, he's giving 2 buffs here and a buff here and a buff here and 1 debuff. Whereas I think in this form, he's also got buffs. So yeah, I would probably, I would certainly consider in the masteries getting him into Arcane Celerity. I'm sorry, not arcane celerity. Rapid response. Turn meter increase when a buff cast by this champion is removed or expires. He's going to be placing so many buffs. He could get a lot of turn meter out of this. You could certainly also consider Cycle of Magic. Remember, this is not a speed tune for a clan boss, so you don't care if like you get extra turn meter fills. Like this could be really good. This would also get him more turns. I'm sorry, this would get him more turns. This would get him more skills. And the turns are nice for him because of his passive revive, right? And that perfect veil. So I think you can run him very fast. So when we get, when you get him there, as far as like the capstone is concerned, the question is, do you want to run with Eagle Eye? Do you want to run with Oppressor, which is, by the way, not for him. Never mind. It's Timely Intervention would be better. This could get him a lot more turn meter fill and potentially get him back around to that passive to get that passive revive. Is there a cooldown on that? What's the cooldown on that? 3 turns. Yeah. So I think you have a pretty good rebuild there. I think he's going to be more helpful as a support, and he's going to be more flexible as a support, because this is probably your speed or a lead in PvE. And in PvE, you need more speed. Like this is too slow to run hard mode content, right? So you need, he's at what, 282 when we do the rebuild. So you just come in here to fitting room. You go to preset manager, and you can see it's this last preset here. It's this one. And again, so 295, that's a beautiful place for him to be for PvE, and it's going to work for PvP. And that's the nice thing about supports. A lot of times you can build them in one way that's going to do both jobs. So one of the reasons I didn't do this is if you want to come in and use one of your 1 hour, buffs, so you get a free gear removal, then you can do that, get this for free, and maybe rebuild somebody else as well and do that. That's why I didn't actually spend the 800 silver to swap this, but I would definitely swap this. The only last thing I would say is, remember this as well. So I think, was it this one? I think it was that one. Yeah. So remember to come in here and do the ring as well. Yeah. He's awesome. This is one of those champions that I really want. And I love support champions. And I think arena nukers, like when you think about it, it's nice to have his damage roll. But the truth of the matter is, you can find arena nukers. You can just find them. Do you know what I mean? You have Wukong, who is literally S tier arena nuker. Do you know what I mean? So you don't really have to worry about the damage that you're bringing. You could work a little bit of a rebuild on this guy if you can get more crit damage out of him, great. If you could get a 6-star crit damage gauntlet or whatever, great. He's running close to 300 accuracy, which is pretty good for a hybrid build anyway. He's still going to be able to land his A3 sometimes. If you really want him as a buff stripper, right, you're going to need to push that a little bit more. He's got intimidating presence too, so you're going to run him in PvE. You're going to run him in, like anytime you pair him up with Hierophant or Lazarius, you're going to get that increased speed aura as well. So whether he's the speed aura lead and you're pushing him in PvP in arena, or Hierophant Lazarius is the speed lead in like outside of arena, in both cases, pairing him with Wukong and the intimidating presence is going to be nice. Now, one other consideration I didn't really talk about was Armands. I do think that the pair up of Lazarius and Armands is really nice as well. And again, in this case, you can use Armands as the aura lead, and you use Lazarius as potentially the speed lead. I run my Armands at 310 speed, 312, something like that. So in order for Lazarius to actually be your speed lead, he would have to exceed your Armands' speed. But it's okay if Armands is the fastest champion, right? But the other thing is, if you don't have enough accuracy on him, you can drop him down and say, like, if I run Lazarius at, let's say you run Lazarius, get him up to 320, and run Armands at 270, like that could be enough. And then you could put more into accuracy. You can run him that way. You could do the same thing with Arbiter, So the trick in live arena is that usually if Armands isn't banned, then your speed lead is. Typically. Sometimes you're nuker. If you forget you're only bringing one nuker, but typically Armands is banned and your speed lead gets through, but sometimes it's the other way around. So you want him fast enough on his own to still be pretty good, you know, as the fastest champion on your team. But it's really up to you how you play that moving forward. Okay. There's just a lot there. There's a whole wall of text that, dude. Chief and Charles have been going at it for the last hour, probably. All right. Okay, so that is it. It is 6 o'clock. I have to go and have dinner with my family. I hope that this was helpful to some people. I highly recommend two things. I really want to emphasize these things. One is if you are doing siege mode at all, if your clan is doing siege mode, check in with your leadership. They may be doing it even if you don't want to. Like, you need to know what's going on. It's really a big burden on the leadership to get this game mode up and running for your clan. So please go to your Discord community, check in game, make sure you're communicating with your leadership, and don't just like throw a hey out there, are we doing something, and then ignore the chat. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally go and communicate with your clan leadership. I suspect there's going to be a whole big player shuffle after this first week of Siege. There are going to be a bunch of players who don't like it, and they're going to be leaving clans and joining new clans that are like Siege, you know, no Siege requirement clans. And then there are going to be other clans who are just, or other players who are just unhappy with the amount of involvement that their clan is getting in Siege, and they want to do Siege, and they're going to be leaving and looking for more involved clans. So what I want to make sure is that it doesn't happen because of just a lack of communication. Make sure you talk to your leadership and figure out what your clan is doing, especially if you're in the Call Red Plays clan cluster. Please, please talk to your leaders. We have a whole bunch of really good officers who are trying hard to make this game mode accessible to all of our members. If you're not interested in it, communicate that to them, and we will shuffle around the cluster, you know, moving forward. That's fine. It's okay. Like, we have 5 clans right now. If we end up with 7 clans, 4 of whom do Siege and 3 who don't, I'm happy with that. That'd be great. And if like you're just happy, like, oh, we'll casually do it, we'll see what happens. That's fine too. That's great. But our top clans are definitely going to be pushing for Siege, and I want to make sure that we succeed. That was the first thing. There's a second thing. I don't know. Okay. I've thought of a second thing. I don't know if it was my original second thing, but the first thing is definitely communicate with your clan. The second thing I want to mention is, if you are going to get involved in Siege mode, research PvP build. Like, go watch Papa Drock, right? Go watch Nub Raids. Go watch Boozer. Go watch somebody who like gets into high-end PvP so that you can learn how to build your champions and learn how to put the champions together into good compositions. Because regardless of like, you know, whatever, let's say you're in this post and you look at this post. I can't even see this post. Yeah, here. Okay. So like, you know, this post might have, I can't see them because I think they're all full. I would have to see an empty one. But anyway, each location can have like certain conditions. So it could be like supports only, or HP champion, you know, HP based champions only, or you know, attack based champions only. So there are all sorts of ways to like mess with that system to kind of create interesting teams and force your opponents to use up certain champions in their attack, thereby helping your entire clan in its defense. Even if your post loses its fight, if you have absorbed some of the enemy's best champions in their attempt to overcome your defense, then you've helped your clan. So, you know, really don't just throw your PvE champions into this. Like, get a little bit into the PvP defense. And by the way, it is typically PvP defense, right? Most of the time we're on PvP offense, but this is where defense counts more than anywhere else. So, you know, do a little research there too. Okay, I think that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. It's fun to stream on Sundays. Maybe I'll see you again soon. Good luck on Siege this week. I'm doing my live stream on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, Takeover Tuesdays as normal. None of the takeovers here are being counted against you. So even if you won today, you can win on Tuesday. And then the second thing is, don't forget that I am offering paid coaching and takeover services from here on forward. I have a special for the rest of July. July is only 10 more days. So if you are interested in relatively affordable, not free, but relatively affordable account takeovers or coaching services, just shoot me a DM and I will give you the pricing and scheduling information as soon as I can. All right. Thanks, everybody. Hope you've had fun. I will see you in another video or another live stream or somewhere soon. Have a good one, everybody.